So some people on the stream wanted to understand some of my decisions and why I won. So we're gonna take a look at this game. We're gonna take a look at this game in a second. I just have to fix the overlay so that it works. Alright, there you go, there you go. And then there you go. Alright, so this was a PvP. I've been doing a lot better in PvP, winning macro games. I've just been mostly opening 2 gates and then 2 gates and 2 gates into usually like Mothership Core Sentry, but in this case I couldn't find the second pylon, and so I went for because I knew like most of the time it's Stargate, so I went for Stalkers instead because you know Sentry doesn't cut it, because by the time the Oracle gets to your base you don't have foot on overcharge right away. And so I've got 3 Stalkers. I scouted a bit with the Mothership Core, scouted a bit with the Stalker. Of course it could have been to the left, but yeah. Now here, as long as you you sort of intercept the Oracle with your Stalkers, you don't want to be waiting in the mineral line, because if you wait in the mineral line, if he suicides the Oracle to kill as many probes as he can get up to 6 probes, and so you just want to like sort of kite him. So I see him here, then I stutter step, and then the moment he goes for this, I think I double clicked on all the probes. I should have just grabbed this bunch and then click here. So I end up by pulling all the probes and keep stutter stepping with my Stalkers, although I think I could have done it a little bit better and kill it. But you see like my Mothership Core only has 86 energy. So I just end up losing 1 probe, which is really good. Of course he's 2 probes ahead, which is not that bad. And then I'm going into Twilight. Now my follow-up is a little bit slow. But it still works out, you know. In PvP, there's never like a late time to grab an expand, as long as you don't cook probes, and as long as you get your money back on your investment on your tech. So you know, I'm taking into blink. If I don't put pressure, then I'm not getting my money back, and then it doesn't work out as good for me. Let me put the in-game sound, because I know some people, they like that. I usually like hate having game sound when I'm watching a replay, but okay. So taking out the Stargate, I could have just left after killing the pylon. It would have made my pressure a little bit quicker. And so the moment that I take expand, I make like 1 round of warping. You have to leave like a couple of Stalkers in the home. So you see, like right now, I could max out 2 more Stalkers, but they wouldn't do much more. And then if I get my sentries early, then I'll have some sentries to defend, which are crucial, and I'll have some hallucination, which is really important to keep track of what your enemy is doing. So the Robo and then the Forge, you cannot waste any time getting the Forge, even though it would have been, because this guy's going to put some pressure. So I end up killing, whoa, okay, wrong button, obviously. I end up killing some workers. Okay. End up. Did I kill the workers already? I can't tell. Yeah, I think I did. So I killed some workers, and then I go into a Forge. His Forge being a little bit delayed because he wants to put pressure. You know, he's not grabbing the gases. He already has some pylons set up, which took me quite a while to find. So here I'm actually going to snipe a sentry, which is really good to do. You can never go wrong by sniping a sentry. I didn't realize this one already blinked, and so I'm going to end up losing 2 Stalkers for a Stalker and a sentry. Not the best trade, of course, because I'm a little bit behind in army value. So here I'm just getting 3 sentries, and oh yeah, I'm going to end up losing a Stalker right here. That's quite unfortunate. Okay. So far, yeah, the unit loss tab like is in my favor because he's lost more because of the Stargate investment, but then he had an earlier expand and he's a little bit ahead on probes. So I'm definitely not out of the woods. I had to leave some Stalkers for the Oracle, which really sucks. And also my army positioning was kind of bad. This Panon doesn't have the best position because it's easily snipeable. Would have been better off like a Panon like over here or over there. And then I just need some good force field and vote on overcharge. So my Immortal gets isolated, and it's not really good because he gets like a lot of surface area. So that's why I'm force fielding over here to sort of push his units away. And then until that point, like that was a really good engagement. Here I tried to like trap this Immortal, but it didn't work out. And then I sort of chased him out of Photon Overcharge, which is really not good. Let's see, lose another Stalker for almost nothing. Yeah, this fight right here was really stupid. I don't know what I was thinking. But I'm gonna snipe it, and then I'm gonna blink out. And then it's at that moment I start sort of lacking gas to keep my Immortal production up. And so on my next run of Warpin, it's gonna be mostly mostly Zots. I'll make sure to not lose my Leadership Core as well. Then I sort of like start to transition just in case like he left. So I have like my Zealots chasing his Immortals. And then here I kind of like ran into his Zealot, which I should have ran this way because, you know, I'm going to end up losing like 2 more Stalkers. Just because I ran into his Zealots, which was really bad. Then he leaves, and then he goes into a macro game from that point on. So the unit loss tab, you know, he's lost slightly more, but he also had a lot more probes. So I thought I was a lot more ahead than I actually was. But with my weapon upgrade, that's actually pretty good for me, because my army is going to be slightly stronger. So I killed his Oracle. I pay attention to see if he's grabbing an expand, adding my gates, grabbing my third. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. Always trying to keep track if he's moving out on the map. So by killing a few more pylons, I'm 1,000 resource ahead. But the probe count was really huge in his favor. But since we grabbed our third at the same time, it didn't really matter that much. I mean, he's like 20 supplies ahead, which I guess isn't so bad. So how exactly am I going to win this? I could have attacked with +2, just do a +2 timing, which is what I did, right? That game was a long and stressful game. I just want to put some replay analysis on my YouTube, because then, oh, see, he got caught out of position. So he was ahead by 10 supply now. Once we got our third saturated, he made a lot more workers than, or I guess he didn't make that many more workers than I did. But he got cut out of position. Like you see, that's his like vision on the map, and he didn't know I had my entire army there, which, you know, is props to me. Like I thought I had the bigger army, which I didn't really. We had the same amount of, I don't know, where were his archons? What the hell? Which color is he? He's green? Oh, his archons were like, they were like really far away, and then the time warp just wrecked him. I came in like a wrecking ball, and so I'm gonna get like a lot of Immortals for free, like 2 to be exact. And the blink is kind of nice. Like I always say, like throw away your Stalkers, but in the Immortal Archon Zealot army, throwing away your Stalkers is not really efficient. Like they can still be useful. It's the moment where it goes Colossus into Colossus, your Stalkers just have no utility in the battle. And then I feel like here, if I would have brought the Warp Prism and I would have warped in, I could have finished him, but I didn't. So that was a little bit sloppy by me. And but I had like a better army. Or actually, no, we were both on 2-2 at that point. Okay. Yeah, I was ahead in army. I could have pushed a little bit more. But instead I went back, and I actually it took me a while to make that decision, and I think that's one of the reasons why the game was so close. If I would have sent that Warp Prism right away and I would have went back home, I could have killed his production a lot earlier. Props to him, he had a lot of pylons around his gates, and it took a while to kill a lot of that production. And I could have shift command a lot better, Like I killed a few pylons, but all of his gates are still powered. And then at the back of that, I'm like trying to macro and not die. He had a lot of archons, which I guess it was just one more than me, but they had a really nice positioning compared to mine, and so it was very scary. Like my Zots like died so quickly, while my stupid archons were stuck behind my stalkers. So one thing you should try to do, I guess, would be to always blink your stalkers back, because if we just look at this fight right here very slowly, like he gets like a lot of surface on my Zots, while my archons, there's like one guy attacking, and those fatties right here, they're not doing anything. But I'm really taking a toll on his production. Here I'm going to go for the pylons, so I'm finally going to empower some stuff. Oh, this worked out for me because I had +3 and he came into a choke, even though he warped in slightly more Zods than me. And then in the meantime, if we look on my side of the map, after that engagement, I can't really take that. I can't really fight that right now. Although maybe I can. No, because I'm sitting on one immortal. That's the problem. I'm sitting on one immortal. Then I tried to make more, but he sniped my robo. So I have to take my time and I have to flank him. And he's got like an immortal or a mothership core with time warp, so it's really easy for him to reposition his army while my army is stuck and slow. So I tried to take the fight, but I realized like he's got such a good concave compared to mine. But then I sent some zealots from the natural, which didn't really help out. Like I mean, I killed like we traded some archons and I killed an immortal, but I'm still struggling. And so I realized like, oh, I'm gonna need, like, he can't really produce at this point. He's on 3 gates versus my 10 gates, and I've got my 4th, so I'm gonna transfer a couple workers there shortly. So one guy in chat was asking like, how come you didn't do a timing with +2? And that's what I did. Like when I caught him over here, and I could have finished him, but because I did not keep my War Prism and my War Prism stayed over to the middle, I didn't manage to finish him right away, and that gave him a chance into coming back. And then I took a big risk by sending my War Prism to kill his production, but that ended up winning me the game. So yeah. So at this point, just redoing my army, and then the last battle was still interesting. I don't know how far ahead I was, but it looked very close. So I was forced to make a couple stalkers because of the War Prism. Snipe the War Prism, kill the Immortal. He's grabbing a 4th. Oh, I'm really that far ahead, but it still looked very close. So he's on 2-0. Working on his +3, and I've got Plasma Shield upgrade. But he's still like a decent sized army. I killed a lot of pylons, so that didn't help him. There was 9 Archons to 9, but I don't know why. I always thought my army was smaller. And so this place right here is really good for me because he's fighting in like small spot, while all my Archons sort of have this spot. But they weren't positioned properly. Like I was like, you know, you see like I have a lot of Archons in the back, so I realized that, and I'm trying to reposition. And so if he comes and fight here again, I have like the bigger concave. But really, like, I would have had to take my army manually and put some of these Archons. It's just 9 Archons is very clunky. And then I was sort of also waiting for Time Warp, which really slows down the backbone of his army, which are the Immortals. You know, if you Time Warp the Immortals are already slow by themselves. They're going to take even longer to get in reach. So once you Time Warp, it's really hard for him to reposition his army. And then I just came in, and of course I was like a lot of supply ahead, but... And these Archons really, like, I should have like take them. This is like, you know, when sometimes you see like roaches or zergs trying to A move, and the roaches are stuck behind a force field, and they could just take those roaches and go around the force field. This is what it looks like to me. You know, those archons, if I would have just grabbed them and sent them just over here like this, and then they start attacking over here, that would have been much more efficient. But I didn't do that. I just A-moved like a noob. 3 immortals to 2, and just better upgrades made me win the game. But it was an interesting game. You know, PvP sometimes will turn into Immortal Archon versus Immortal Archon, and always having your Archons in good positions, and always having a good, solid backbone of Immortals is really important. And yeah. So that was a replay analysis of a PvP game, a macro PvP game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I thought it would be a little bit more insightful before I started. I still think it's good. Let me know if you have feedback, comments, anything. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a good time.